environment, changing yourself and changing your environment, and it was very powerful. Today we're going to be talking about the law of design. This is law 7 in the book, so if you read the chapter, you'll know what it's about, and I'm going to teach you on what more in depth on what this really means. The law of design says to maximize growth, develop strategies. Oh, come on, that's the right password. What? I don't seem to know my own password right now, which is really weird. I have notes in here that I'm trying to have. There we go. But
City's upgrading.
yeah. Upgrading my system. Okay. To maximize growth, develop strategies. You plan you or someone else might. John Maxwell defines a system as the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and a specific set of how-to principles. And this isn't in the book or in the manual or anything that I'm doing, but I was watching a video when he was talking about this, and basically what he was stating was that when you're trying to set a logical and specific set of how-to principles, you are making sure that you're designing a certain how-to on how to do this, how to do that, so that when you're developing a strategy and a system for your life, you can, and it becomes more simple. He talks about, in point 1, glancing backward and planning forward. In the book, he says that he takes time every single year to evaluate the past year and plan the next. So, at the end of the year, what John Maxwell does and what it means is that every single time he gets down to Christmas, he talks about in the book that just before the next year starts, he takes 5 days of planning, seeing, okay, who did I talk to this past year? What are some things that were important? What did I learn from this? What did I learn from that? And how should I take the time to write down what I should do next year? What are some things I should plan? What can I do to develop next year better than what this year was? Even if this year wasn't very good, it does not mean I can't make next year better. And what did I learn from the mistakes that were made? So, what value do you guys see in this practice? Candy, what value do you see in planning and seeing, like looking into the past of the year and planning for the future?
Well, you don't want to make the same mistakes more than once.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have fresh manna to go forward and to set yourself up for those forward motions and those goals. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's good to
stretch yourself and be able to target higher levels.
That's very true. When you are taking the time to look back and evaluate the past year, you are also taking the time to set a clear goal to get past the mistakes that you made the previous year so that you know not to make the same mistake. Because when you make the same mistake consistently, it's not going to help you move past into the next year. I can hear myself, Dad.
We all do.
Yeah.
Looper right here.
But life lessons. Life is very simple, but keeping it that way is very difficult. Life is simple when we make specific plans according to our specific values, things you value most, and things that you pertain to value specifically. Those are the things that make life a little bit more simple when you're making specific plans. Keeping plans simple can be found in these questions. Can it be received personally? Can a person internalize it? Can it be repeated easily? Can it be transferred strategically? Is it dependent on a specific understanding, or can it be passed on through different cultures? Because there are different ways to plan things. There are different ways to make things simple. And if, just like on a culture, like when it says it is dependent on a specific understanding or can it be passed through different cultures, it's just like bearing tradition. When there are things that family has done for a very long time, traditionally. It comes more simple when you're the kid. When your parents have learned tradition from someone else's parents on how to do something, it passes on to them, and when it passes from them, it passes on to you. So instead of making it more difficult and being like, oh, I think this isn't a very good strategy or whatever, if it's worked for your family, if it has helped them to be more successful, if that habit or strategy that is passed on through the generation has worked for them, then with you being involved in that family and you being part of it, it should also work for you. And that's a more simple way of thinking about it. I have to make sure this isn't what I thought it was. Okay. Designing your life is more important than designing your career. Who you are will most accurately determine what you do. Planning should always be about who you are. So who you are is most accurately determined on what you do, and planning should always be about who you are. So when you're making plans, who are you and what do you do? To make the thing most accurate, you must determine what you are doing, and you should always plan around the kind of person that you are. Designing your life is more important than designing your career. What have you done to design your life? Noah, what have you done to design your life? Design. Plan. Making something more simple.
Well, I've got a calendar in my room.
Mm-hmm.
It's got, obviously, it's a full-size calendar, and so I'll write like the most important things that I need to get done that specific day at the top, and then work my way down just to make sure that the most important ones get done first.
That's actually a really good way to simplify things. When you take the time to write down something, to plan out your day, to put it down, it makes making a design for your life a little bit more simple, because you're putting something down that you're saying, okay, this is stuff I need to get done. I need to get done at this time, this day. And when you're doing that, it's a more simple way of putting it down in a calendar, writing it down in notes. However you have to do it, simplifying your life just makes things a lot easier than trying to complicate things. If you're not taking the time to evaluate stuff, you're going to hinder your growth, because you're making it harder on yourself to grow, because you're not simplifying how you should plan your day and trying to get those things done. What can you do to simplify your life right now? Papa Don. What can you do to simplify your life right now?
Don't notice, I didn't hear the last word.
What can you do to simplify your life right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
What can I do to simplify?
Mm-hmm.
Well, clean up all my bad habits. It's the first thing to simplify my life. Get all that cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And then start over again.
I like it.
It comes to a time in life, when you get older,
Mm-hmm.
you store all this stuff up here, and then you decide you're going to go a complete different route. So you clean everything up and start over.
Yeah. Getting rid of bad habits. I like it. That's a good way to simplify things, yes. Life is not a dress rehearsal. Life comes with neither an instruction manual nor a chance to warm up. It is also true that nothing about your past determines your future. Like we talked about in the law of environment, what you do to change yourself and to change your environment will not determine who you're going to, like what you were. It won't determine what you were. It will determine who you're going to become, because your past has nothing to do with your future. When you are planning and you're trying to create a system for yourself, and when you are changing things around you, your past has nothing to do with who you are or what you'll become.
No.
In planning your life, multiply everything by 2. Be aware that plans look really good on paper, so be ready to expand the resources of time, money, and energy accordingly. When you're trying to step up into a lifestyle where you're going to be more successful and when you're trying to grow, you need to be aware that when you're writing stuff down and you're making plans, you need to expand it and you need to broaden the picture of what you're trying to do so that you know you have time to do it, you're building the money and resources to do it, and you're taking your energy and spreading it out accordingly, not exhausting yourself in one spot. Because even if you do have a very set system and you're very good at planning things out, you're writing it down and you're doing those things, it does not mean that you're going to get it done properly, because you could spread thin. You could get so tired at doing way too many things all at once because you think, okay, now that I have learned that I need to create a system, I have to do a lot. I have to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. And yes, even though if you have to get all these things done and you need to start creating a strategy around that for your life, that does not mean you need to get it all done at that moment. You need to make sure that you spread your energy, you get certain things done at certain times when you need to get it done, so that you're not spreading your energy thin and tiring and exhausting yourself out. Because when you exhaust yourself out, what do? You don't do it, right? You tend to not actually do the thing that you planned on doing because you were too tired to want to do it.
That's right.
So you stop caring for that brief moment in the moment that you're doing those things, and then you're just like, oh man, this was a waste of time now because you're just too tired. So make sure you spread your energy accordingly. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your efforts. Think about thoroughly how you're going to get some things done so that you can get it done properly. Better design through better strategy. To develop strategies depend on systems. To develop strategies depends on systems. I think I skipped something. Calvin, go back. Go back one slide. Okay. I didn't see this in the book or in the manual, but I wanted to read it anyways. Life comes with neither an instruction manual nor a chance to warm up. I thought it was good too. I just found that out this morning because it's not in the book or in the videos or anything that I read, so I thought it was really cool that for some reason it's on the slideshow. But life comes with neither an instruction manual nor a chance to warm up. I think that's pretty cool because it's true. Your life doesn't come with a manual. You're not always being told how to do things or have a certain set book that's open. It's always like, okay, you do this at this time, boom, 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 boom. And so you're not just constantly following it like you're trying to build a Lego. When you get a Lego manual, you're taking the pieces and building it separately throughout the entire manual to make sure that when you're done building it, it becomes the perfect piece. But you have to remember that your life isn't exactly like a manual book. So you need to take the time to create a system to make sure that you are manually taking your time to make sure that you'll become successful by putting something in place where you can follow it so that you can do it. Personal growth can and will come systematically. This is also part of the third point: to develop strategies depend on systems. Personal growth can and will come systematically. Michael Gerber says, in a quote, "Systems permit ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results predictably." There's a saying in business that systems are the solutions. What would you think about that exactly? How do you feel about the saying that systems are the solutions?
Hallelujah.
Chloe?
Well, it puts plans together, like visibly, like systems and all that stuff. It's visually like writing it, or like it's writing it all out.
Yeah.
Before you put it into action.
That's true. By saying systems are the solution, you're basically putting it in effect that you're saying that for a fact that taking the time to create a system in your life to plan things out is the solution to change, which I feel like is very true. A lot of people don't truly believe that when you're developing a system that's really going to make a difference or it really helps. But when you're trying to reach a level of success that is much higher than where you're already at, you need to develop something and a strategy to make sure that whatever you're putting in place can be successful, so that you're not hindering your ability to grow. And you're not hindering your ability to make a difference in you and others. I thought I was going to burp. Effective systems include, effective systems include considering the big picture. We must have the end result in mind when building an effective system. Whenever you're building a system, whenever you're trying to achieve a goal, you must always have the big picture in value and right in view where you're at. Because when you do, you have the end result in mind, and you're trying to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're making it effective, you're making it worthwhile. You're not wasting your time and whatever you're trying to do, because you don't want to develop a strategy and then realize that it's the wrong strategy. So you want to make sure that you consider what's the true goal of what I want to do, what am I trying to reach, how successful am I trying to be, where am I at, and what do I want. So you have to make sure that you consider the big picture so you can create an effective system. Make use of our priorities. What is the highest and best use of your time right now? I was watching a video and John Maxwell quoted something from a book. He didn't mention who it was, but he says deliberate practice. What it means to deliberately practice. He says the quote said, no matter the field of expertise when it comes to the elite status, there is no correlation between time spent in your profession and your performance being excellent. There's no correlation between time spent in your profession and your performance being excellent. What he's saying is, unless you understand the system and get deliberate in your practice, it won't make a difference in the profession you're in. He says, I was watching the video, and he says in a story that when he was with a bunch of friends, they're all playing golf. He said no matter how many times they swing it, they can get better at cutting it. And you can get better at what you're doing when you're constantly doing it, staying consistent in what you're doing. But they're getting more consistent in hitting it into the woods because that's what they're doing. They keep getting better at cutting it, but they keep hitting it wrong, because he says find what you are good at. And when you find what you are good at and you spend time in that and you actually practice doing it, deliberately practicing it, it's not going to truly make you better at doing it. That's like when we talked about the law of evaluation. That's when we talked about environment, the law of environment. That's when that's why I said when you're in a certain environment, when you're working, if you aren't enjoying it, and if you're not that good at the job that you have, you're not going to get better at it though if you don't practice. You're not going to get better at it if you don't deliberately put effort into making sure that you can actually do it, because you're not understanding it. You don't try to understand what kind of job or field that you're in because you just don't like it. And that's the difference between making sure you deliberately do it. He says practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. Practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. What that means is, no matter how much time you practice, you're not looking for perfection in the practice. You're looking to make sure that whatever you practice in is permanent in your life. That's very thorough in what you do. A good measurement of the outcome. Without a metric of our own system, there is no way to know if we are succeeding. Without a metric of our own system, there is no way to know if we are succeeding. When people know their work is being measured, their productivity increases. When you know that you're being challenged and know that people are measuring you to see if you're doing it right, your productivity to get things done increases, because you want to make sure you get it done, and you want to make sure that you're not doing it the wrong way, because people are all looking at you to get it done the right way. So you want to make sure whatever you're doing, you stay productive in the thing that you're doing, so you measure up. Application. A good system answers the question, what now? What now? Where can I use this? How can you apply it? Where can you use it? When can I use this? Who needs to know this? So when you're applying it, make sure you know that where can you apply the system that you're trying to do? When can you use the system that you're trying to put into effect? And who needs to know how to apply it? So you're trying to make sure that you make that a discipline so that you can help others to figure out where to apply, what now, and where you can do it, and how and when you can use it. There's another step that the book talks about, and it says effective systems employ organization, and this isn't in the manual either for some reason, but it says number one time waster for most people is looking for things that are lost. If you are looking in the wrong direction and you are lost, it's not going to help you to make sure you're effective in what you're trying to get done, or effective in what you are trying to do. John Maxwell mentions that wherever you are good in, that's wherever you are good, in the spot and times you are good, you ought to only be doing the things that are your strengths and give you return. And I thought that was cool, because when he talks about finding the time and place where it is most effective for you, and he says that doing things that are your strengths and give you return at certain times, I realized if you're a morning person, the things that you want to get done, the things you are better, that are you're more, that are most important, that are most important in your life, you tend to focus more on it at that time, right?
That's right.
If you're more of a midday person, the things that you excel at, if you do it during that time, they will get done more efficiently. If you're a night person, it's the same thing. Last night, I was telling Noah, I was up at like 12:30, 1 a.m., still reading over stuff and just making sure I looked over things. And I realized I paid the most attention and I took the most time and soaked everything in late at night than when I do during the day. I tried to look over this stuff during the day. I couldn't. I just didn't feel very focused on it in the moment. And I tried to do it in the morning too, and I just wasn't very focused on it in the morning either. Because during those times of day, the things that are most important for me I don't really feel like those things that are the most important in my life, the things that I think I am best at doing, are going to be done the right way at those times. Like when I'm playing games, or if I'm playing my guitar, my inspiration doesn't come during the day when I'm playing guitar. I really don't feel like I'm inspired to really think about something when I'm playing during the day or in the morning. But when I'm at night, at the time that I feel like I excel the most, when I play my guitar, I feel the most inspiration. I've wrote multiple different things when I play guitar, and made up just different lyrics and just played around and had more fun. And even like started praying and getting more in tune with God at night when I play my guitar, because at that moment at night was when those things develop the most for me. Is when I'm up late, my brain is wanting to get the things that I enjoy most done the right way, and I prioritize getting that done at that time. And I've done it subconsciously for the longest time, and I just don't realize it. But when you come to the realization that at certain times of the day, if those times are the best times for you, grab the things that you find most important to do during your day and do them right there, right then. If you're a morning person, whatever you're supposed to get done during the day, whatever's most important for you, that helps you, that is your bigger, like a bigger strength for you, that gives you a big return, do it right there in the morning right away. If you feel like you have to read and you're not going to read later today, read that morning. Wake up and read it right away. Don't wait, because you're not going to do it later, because during that time it's not something you really want to do, because that's not something you're focused on. Whatever time during the day you feel best at, do the things that give you the biggest return at that time of day. And that's why, like I said, that's why I think when I play guitar at night and I study, that's when it's biggest for me, is when I do it at night. It gives me the biggest return, because I'm truly thinking about it. I'm not just doing it. I don't feel like it's just something I'm doing anymore at that point. It truly gives me a bigger return. When you live the law, you will show others the way, and this empowers them to learn and live it. When you're living this one, when you're trying to develop in a system, you want to make sure that when you're building a system that you can also show others how to do it too. Jim Rohn quotes, "If you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you." Whatever good things we build end up building us. So whenever you're working on your goal shall work on you, right? Whenever you are trying to make a plan and you're going to work on your plan shall work on you, because it's you developing the plan. So whatever thing you build should build you. If you are building a strategy, you're building a plan, you are working on it, it should always have a return on you. If the thing you're working on has no return on you, it is a waste of your time. If there is no return, if it's not helping you to grow, it is a waste. Don't do things that waste your time. If you are building a system around certain values of your life where you're wanting to grow, don't try to build it around things in your life that won't have any room to grow and won't actually affect you in any way. He talks about when you find something that is good, you want to make sure that you file it. He says systems allow you to think things through, then follow through. So when you create a system, allow things to think through and then follow through to the things that you've thought of. You want to build it. Whenever you find a quote, write it down. Whenever you find something important in your life, take it, write it down. Because you don't want to forget it. If you forget things that have meaning in your life and you just skip by it and you think for a moment, oh, that was good. That's a good lesson. Or, oh, that was a good quote. But then you don't write it down whenever it comes to it and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what was that thing that happened that I'm trying to remember that really helped me a lot? It was strong, it was powerful. I don't remember. Well, you don't remember because you didn't write it down. You don't remember because you didn't take the time to really think about what that was, because you passed by a good moment. You passed by something that was of good value that could help you develop a good strategy. Applying the law of design to your life. When we begin developing and refining a system, you want to make sure that, like I said, the big picture will help you, whatever the big picture is, will help you reach your picture goals. Your priorities, are they consistent with your goals? Measurement, can you have a tangible mean of determining your success? Application, it have a built-in focus toward action? Organization, does it make a better use of your time than what you are doing now? Consistency, can you and will you repeat it on a regular basis? So I told you the meanings of these, and now I'm asking you the questions. Like I said, the big picture, is it helping you to reach your actual goal? Is it helping you to reach your goal? Are your priorities consistent with your goals? Is the measurement of value that you have tangible meaning of determining your success? Are you applying this? Is it actually have a built-in focus toward action? Is the thing you're applying really determining or built in to focus to make sure that you are actually doing it? Organizing, does it make a better use of your time and what you're doing? And staying consistent, can you and will you repeat it on a regular basis? Are you willing to take what you're learning? Are you willing to, when you're building something, when you're building a strategy, are you actually willing to make sure that you build upon it? Are you actually doing it? Are you repeating it? Are you making sure that it's consistent? You want to take time to assess which areas of your life you should receive the most strategic planning. You need to make sure that you assess your career. You want to make sure you assess your hobbies. Are they really areas of your life that you need to receive more time to value them or to make a system out of for it? You need to take the time to assess faith, what your relationship is with God. You need to take the time to build it. Make sure that you're strategically planning on making sure that when you wake up, you read, or if you're going to bed, you read. That's very simple. When you're trying to make sure you stay in God and you have a relationship with Him, you want to make sure that you're building that kind of plan to make sure that whatever you're doing during the day, you plan to read, or you plan to pray, or whatever you need to do. In your marriages, whoever you're married to, or if you're not married, but if you're married, how can you do to make sure that it's happy for both of you? Strategically planning around that. Your family, what are you doing to assess what goes along or happens in the family? Your personal growth, are you strategically planning to put in effect systems to personally grow? Your health, even, are you sure you're eating healthy? Are you planning to actually take care of yourself? If you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of you. And when you get mentally drained of energy because you don't take care of yourself very well in a healthy aspect, it's not going to help you to use more energy to really follow through for what you're trying to develop. And your free time. During your free time, what are you doing? Are you just sitting around wasting your time, or are you really actually developing a strategy during that free time? I think taking your free time is the best time to really sit down and evaluate, okay, what have I done today? What has gotten done? What can I do tomorrow? What's going on this week? Or what's going on next month, even if you have to develop even a plan months in advance. But you want to make sure during your free time you're still evaluating what's going on. He quote, or it's not a quote, but it says that luck comes to the prepared. So what does that say about planning a strategy? If luck can come to people who are just prepared to do things, then what's that say when you actually plan and strategize on what you're going to do? What systems do you have in place that serve you well right now? What systems do you have in place that serve you well right now? What exactly do you have in system right now that is actually helping you to grow? Like Noah mentioned, he has a calendar and he's writing stuff down for the day, saying this is stuff that needs to get done for the day. Is anyone else doing that? Is that something that can help you? It's very simplistic. That's something that's really easy to put down. You don't have to write it on a calendar, but even if you write down something on a piece of paper for the day or for the week, and you write down, okay, these are the things that I need to get done for the week, and this is how it's going to get done. So not only are you prepared, you are also planning and strategizing how to get that done during the day because you wrote it down and you took the time to prepare for it. For systems to be effective, they must fit into these criteria: simple, scalable, reproducible, and teachable. Simple, just keep it simple. Don't make strategizing things during the week hard. Like I said, it's really not that hard just to write something down on a piece of paper. You just grab a piece of paper and a pen or pencil and just be like, okay, this is what needs to get done for the day, or this is what needs to get done for the week. It's really simple to just make sure that you plan on actually doing something instead of wasting your time to not do anything. It's not that hard to grab a piece of pen and paper and spend 10, 15 minutes and putting down, okay, I need to do laundry. Okay, I need to go outside and do this. I need to feed my dogs for the day. Okay, I need to go get gas. I need to get food for this. Blah, 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 whatever else you have to write down. It's not that hard to take a little bit of time just to make sure you write down something. Scalable. What it means is measuring the time you have. Scalable has to do with making sure that whatever's going on during the day, you see what times that you are free to do this or free to do that. So if you make sure that things are scalable, you measure out the time, place, and where it's most important so that you can take the time to fully develop your strategy. Reproducible. What it means to reproduce is to make sure that whatever has been consistent, that has actually helped you, you can consistently make sure that it keeps getting done that way. Because whatever strategy is working, you want to make sure that it can reproduce and keep working. Because if it keeps working, then it's going to make a difference, and that system is going to work. But if it's not working, maybe you need to probably plan around that system and redevelop that strategy and be like, okay, if this is not reproducing good results consistently, maybe the strategy for what I'm doing needs to change in the system that I have, so that you can actually make something that is consistently reproducing a good effort. Teachable. You want to make sure that whatever strategy you have can be teachable around that aspect. Whatever you're doing, even if it seems like the right system to you, someone else might have a better input on it. And if they have a better input on it, then you need to take that into account so that you can still be teachable, because you don't want to be stubborn. You don't want to be like, only my system works for my way. That's not always true. No matter what system you build into effect, even if it's really working for you, there could be parts of it, just little bits and parts that are mildly off, that really probably shouldn't be in your system to fully develop you. So you want to make sure that whatever is going on in your life, whatever system you have put into effect to help build a strategy to focus on growing yourself, you want to make sure it's still teachable. So as you do and as you keep learning, you just want to make sure, I'm just going to restate them. You just want to make sure that you're aware of the big picture, if it's really helping your goals. You want to make sure your priorities are consistent with your goals. You want to make sure that the valuement of measurement that you have in your life is tangible means of determining your success. You want to make sure that the application of what you're doing doesn't have a build-in focus toward action. You want to make sure that you're organizing your time, making better use of your time, and you want to make sure that you can and will repeat it on a regular basis, staying consistent. So, out of everything, what is the desired outcome, and when will you know that you have successfully accomplished that? Chloe, what is the desired outcome for wanting to develop a better strategy in your life, and what do you think will successfully accomplish?
Okay, will you repeat that?
What is the desired outcome for making a plan for your life, and what do you think it will accomplish?
I think it would, well, hone in on focus and just like promote growth in that.
Mm-hmm.
Just move up.
Yeah.
Where I need to be.
Dad, what is the desired outcome, and what do you think it will accomplish?
Let me share something.
What are you going to
I'm
share?
going to just help you by saying it. We're listening to this training, okay? If you're following the book, Daniel's saying some very good things. Grab my book there 1 second, babe. Let me help him. When we read this, he's giving you a reflection, okay? Gonna add into it. He's got this part here, it's like, okay, he asks the question, you know, we ask the question. In the book it says the effective systems includes measurement. Measurement. Any kind of progress requires the ability to measure. And for that reason, your system must include ways to measure your results. So this is what we're talking about, measuring the results he went through. Road building seems to run about 10 years behind population growth. Road building. It's like, look at how many cars have crashed down the hill coming down from Mount Branson. I've seen hundreds since I've been here in 20 years, fall into the cliff. Nobody's catching up with population growth, okay? So how many people have to die and fall in a ditch before the city catches up, okay? We're talking about measuring scale. Measurement is a key to improvement. And so Daniel's going through things, and I remember looking at this thing, and I wanted to bring this out. He's like, the other thing is, one of the things that they make a big deal is effective systems take the big picture into account. He was talking about
That's
the
what
big
I just
picture.
said.
Yeah. He says, we may be very busy, we may be very efficient, but we also will be truthfully effective only when we begin with the end in mind. Now, he's watched the video. I watched one of the videos one day where 3 of these millionaires got on a show, live. I thought it was interesting. You know, they all had their stuff together. And one was talking about launching, let's just take, for example, launching a book. I did not think it was, I think Kiyosaki, there were several guys, these millionaires. And the other guy on the show with him like this says, do you have an idea? And he said to him, yes. What's your idea? He told him his idea. He said, I wrote this on a paper this morning. I have an idea. He said, I'm thinking about this idea for a book. And the guy says, have you written anything yet? The other millionaire, they all said, they're sitting there, no. He said, well, you got the title. That's the idea. He said, let's start off with the end. And the other guy says, what do you mean? So he said to the other millionaire, can you get me a blog in the next week? Yes. Can you give me 1 a week? How many do you think you can do? Can you get me 8 of them over the next 2 months? Oh, yeah, I'll get you 8 blogs, articles on this thought. Okay, good. He said, then the other one said, well, how about, can you make a couple of videos about what you're thinking? Yeah, I'll make a couple of videos. He says, okay, we'll have the book launched in 3 months. So, over the next 2 months, that millionaire wrote like 8 blogs, 4 or 5 videos, had several people help him, took those thoughts. 3 months later, the book had already been marketed. Once he had the idea, the next day, while he was on the show, the guy came out, how about this cover for the book? I'll design your cover. They just interviewed in 1 hour, and the cover design. Oh, I like that cover design. That's awesome. Nothing's written, but he's got the cover design, the ISBN, everything. The book is already designed. All we now need now is the inside pages. At the end of 3 months, the book's launched. The day it was launched, 4 million copies sold. But right there in the interview with just 3 millionaires thinking together, they already took their thought and put the end to it. And said, oh, okay, 3 months from now we'll have the book. I'm trying to say, like, if we listen into what Daniel's teaching, but the thing is, I noticed when I had the manuals, when Daniel's teaching, everyone else need notes. Everyone else needs, every leader in this place has to apply what's being done, amen, to get it. It must be measurable. It must be measurable. It's hard to say, oh, let's promote so-and-so, you're a good leader, you're a good leader. No, I know when you're looking at people, you can say, you know the people are applying themselves. Some people will say, well, I'm just watching live right now from wherever. Well, there's still a difference being here. Because I don't know what you're applying when you're sitting there watching on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're really writing down the notes. I don't know if it's really changing your life. I don't know. I know when you're sitting in here as a leader, I can tell, hey, you're making progress because you took a step. Doesn't matter how I felt. Doesn't matter what's going on. Amen. I can see progress. That's what we're looking for. So it's the same thing with any area. Same thing with healing. Oh, I believe in healing. You do? Well, show up. Well, hello? I believe in healing? Well, you're saying that Nobody in this place is anointed enough to help you. Do we believe in the prayer of the elders? They lay hands on the sick and they recover. Do we believe that verse? That's called humility. Hey, I need help. I know I'm healed, but I'm still not healed. Well, get your butt where somebody can pray for you. It's all humility. It's not saying it says it's any thought he's giving. Finish it. We need to bring it into. Carry on. Sorry, I was interrupting you.
No, you're all good. I'm basically done anyways. Yeah.
I wanted to answer the question you haven't heard.
Oh, yeah. What is the desired outcome of your strategy and when we know that it's actually going to be successful?
I don't know, because I came in late.
Yeah.
So I'm really not sure where you guys are at regarding this, so I apologize if I'm off, okay? But I just feel like